And so here ends, arguably, in fact comfortably, the most enthralling game of football we've seen in the knockouts at the FIFA Club World Cup. Two heavyweights of European football having a royal go at each other. And in the end, a game that gave us everything we expected, everything we thought we'd see, and then some. Red cards, we had goals, we had talking points, we had some injuries, we had VAR intervening. And Anthony Taylor, certainly the busiest man this evening, heavily involved in the narrative of this particular game, which ends by 2-0 to European champions Paris Saint-Germain. And we did touch on their recent head-to-head record against Bayern Munich, having lost the previous 4 games straight without scoring a goal. Here they are on the right side of a 2-0 win and all the way through to the semi-finals. Thoroughly entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, these are the type of games that make you fall in love with football all over again. I think we've been spoiled for like true quality. Again, with the second game, we've been sort of privileged to watch and to sit and just enjoy the entertainment. I think when you watch and you look at things to analyze, there's so many good things to enjoy about the game.
Yeah. Energy,
attitude, pressing people, closing down space, finding space, being brave in certain areas to play out, to make sure that you don't get dispossessed because you know what you're up against, the quality and the energy. And it was just beautifully balanced football match where it took true brilliance to unlock both sides.
Almost unfair that there had to be a team on the losing end of this one. And it's a team that will probably reflect on this and feel as if for the majority of the game, they were probably the better side.
That's what you'll get when it's 2 ball-playing teams. When it's 2 ball-playing teams, it's how you look after the ball. It's what you do after losing the ball. It's that 5 to 8 seconds period where you're trying to win the ball back as quick as possible. If you get out of that press, when it's 2 ball-playing teams, you have an opportunity to then go on and score the goal. It's something that we'll illustrate and show later when we look at the first goal, how he scored, because they lose the ball on transition, they try to get out, but the pressing was good, the counter press was good, and that's how they come back. So it's interesting battles that we saw on the field of play. Hakimi versus Coleman was an excellent battle. Olise versus, on the other side, Nunes or Mendes was a great battle to watch. And those battles on the field of play makes you excited, makes you look forward to the next one. Okay, you won this one, let's see the next one. So it was a good game of football. I think let's give credit to 2 coaches. They played the game. And that's why you see how well their teams are playing the game also.
Yeah, really was. Thoroughly engrossing was this particular game. At halftime, it was goalless. And then coming into the second half, really was a case of both teams going for the jugular here, asking either goalkeeper to really
probably aim for the near post. I think with Neuer's experience in education, I think he read that coming, but still a fantastic save. Keep him in the game.
Falling away a little bit at the end. He's falling away, hence he can't change his mind in the last minute. We saw the classic Thierry Henry open up his body in situations like that, and he would calmly slot it in the back of the net with the instep technique. In this instance, Bakole does everything right, bends the run to be able to receive, but in the last minute he loses his balance a little bit, and that's why he could not generate enough power to be able to beat Neuer in goals.
Yeah, you felt he could have given him the eyes a bit, and instead of going far post, just try and tuck it in near post.
Yeah, because he's opened his body so soon and so early. Normally that movement sort of happens within the stride, you know, it's sort of like 1, 2, and then the 3, you know, it slots, you open up your body. But with that, he's opened up his body way early and literally said, I'm going there. And generally at that level, when players do that, you know, the opposite is coming.
Yeah.
We saw Hakimi with the pass down the channel, looks at the channel and then closes his foot, goes on the inside. That's exactly how Dewey scored his goal. Again, lift his head, look at the far post, boom, close your foot, near post, and the keeper's found sort of out of sync and out of step.
So the experience there of Manuel Neuer coming out trumps and keeping Bayern in the game, and it was a great save that did indeed keep the Bavarians on the hunt. Not too long thereafter, it was Michael Olise who came to the fore, and again we had highlighted him as being the attacking sort of cog for this Bayern side. Is there anything that he could have done better there?
I think let's give credit also to the keeper. He comes out, Donnarumma, takes away space and time. It's a 50-50 ball. He's doing his most to try to get to that ball. He connects with it, and all he wanted was to make that connection, to get it on target. but good goalkeeping, good defending, the ability to take away space and time, force him wide a little bit to make the angle a little bit difficult for him to be able to take the shot. I thought he did everything he could do in that moment.
That was a missed opportunity for Michael Olise, which meant it was still goalless. And a rather busy evening for Manuel Neuer, not necessarily for all the right reasons, because we did touch on this as well.
He's trusted, with the ball at his feet. He's one of the better ones at the keeper. I mean, at a certain point in football, he was one of the best in the world. He was the best in the world. In this instance, unfortunately, he just gets caught out. And that just goes to show the energy that, both sides had, especially PSG. We know that this is part of their makeup. The coaches spoken time and time again. If you don't run, you won't play for him.
Yeah.
And you watch the Stars press, the Stars recover, and the Stars put people under pressure, even as deep as a goalkeeper that's sort of trying to play as a 6. And now all of a sudden creates a little bit of doubt, and that's when you start sort of winning the mind games a little bit. But Neuer, being who he is, he'll continue doing the same thing over and over.
Even at the ripe age of 38 now, or in fact nearing 40 is Manuel Neuer. That is a big miss from Ousmane Dembele.
It's a big miss, because if you want to create panic in the goalkeepers, you close the channel where they want to play the ball.
Yeah.
So as soon as he lifts his head, he sees that where he wants to play the ball, the man is already closed. So he has to change his mind. So when he creates that doubt, you give the striker or the offensive players an opportunity, that extra 2 seconds to then press the goalkeeper. I thought good pressing, good teamwork coming from PSG. I thought Dembele could have taken another touch to be able to slot it in the back of the net. Unlucky, we were discussing it in the back room to say, which one is his weaker foot? Is it the left or the right? Because he kicks the ball so well equally with both feet.
Yeah, and he went on to answer that particular question. We'll show you exactly when he did that, but it took a while, didn't it? It took a while, but there was to be an opening goal, and Desiree Doué, who did walk away with the superior player of the match, he gets this particular goal. Bongs, I know that you felt that this, particularly Harry Kane losing the ball there, came from a certain injury that happened at half-time.
Yeah, you get that feeling because in the first half, Harry wasn't in those positions. Musiala's trusted to do that and Harry can stay long. But obviously in the second half, Musiala's not available, Gnabry's coming, he's out wide, and Harry just doesn't feel he's in the game, so he needs to go short. I did say even in the build-up that he will come short.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he gets dispossessed, but that's the type of intensity we've seen in this football match. And once you lose balls in that position, with all the quality we see here, that's bound to happen. And, you feel for Harry obviously because he's a player of top quality, but in that instance, really, really unlucky, great energy. And
there's going to be, when you lose the ball, you're going to counter press. And when you counter press, if the team that has the ball manages to get out of that press, they'll then have an opportunity to score the goal. When we look at that moment and we roll it, you'll see that as soon as Kimmich wins the ball, there's 6 players of PSG. Now with one pass, he's going to eliminate all of those 6 players. Now he progresses the ball to Harry Kane. Look at that 3 versus 1 that they create. Now that is the press. If he gets out of that press with a pass, then they're out, Bayern. Then they're going to a goal opportunity. They then look at the 2 players that we're highlighting. The option to pass the ball, there's 2 players that are covering. There's a 2v1. The man on the ball, that is Harry Kane, there's a 2v1. That is the numerical advantage around the ball. They win the ball, it's Bettina. He wins the ball. As soon as he wins the ball, he has got an option outside to play Hakimi. He plays him, he does not stop. Any youngster watching, third man running, gives the ball wide. Then he doesn't stop. Then he goes for that run out wide to be able to receive. When he goes out wide to receive, look at how many players he's taking with him. And look at how many players are ball watching and they are watching him. It's 6 guys that are watching one man. Look at the space that it creates at the edge of the box for Doué to be able to receive. Good composure from Bettina to bring the ball back. He brings it back, he finds Doué. It's that last minute change. The keeper thinks he's going far post. At the last minute, he changes his mind and he scores in on that near post view because they lose the ball, they gain the ball, they were outnumbered, but in terms of field occupation, excellently done. Bettina wins the ball, progresses it, third man running. Doué sees that everybody's focusing on that near post. He hangs around that D line, he receives, he gets the goal.
I mean, it's quite interesting, I think, just to show PSG's balance in terms of how they go about their business.
Yeah.
Pomozo mentioned one pass eliminating 6 players, but that was them on the attack. So that you can have so many bodies in attack, play freely, take people on, and still have the security that whatever's happening at the back, people will take care of business. In that instance, Mendes is obviously tucked in, he stayed behind, and that's why you get the sort of 2v1 with whoever was sort of the highest man for Bayern Munich. But with that as well, Harry Kane, there's always a first press on him as well. It is just incredible sort of team balance that PSG have, like right through the pitch, the way that they move, the way that they react off each other as well. And now we're just seeing that in the defensive side as well.
We're always speaking about PSG, their attack, but they keep another clean sheet. It's 5 games in this competition, 4 clean sheets that they have kept. We always speak about their fullbacks being offensive as much as possible, but they don't concede goals. It's the teamwork. It's the ability to press the ball when they lose the ball. It's the group defending whenever they lose the ball. And 5 games, 4 clean sheets. They finish the game with 8 men infield players, and they still win the game. Excellent tactical play.
Oof. An absolute treat, wasn't it? And PSG will be extremely happy to finish on the right side of that scoreline, particularly as Pumut has mentioned, they did end the game 2 men short. We thought that a goal in the 77th minute would be the end of the drama. It was only the beginning. William Pacho here shown a straight red card, and upon review, that's probably a good decision from Anthony Taylor.
It was, it really was, and that could have ended really, really badly as well. I think if that foot is planted, coming in that high with that sort of force, I mean that can easily be a leg breaker. So I think with everyone involved, 100% red card. Just happy that in terms of damage, it wasn't as worse as it could have been.
So then, that is probably the end of the competition for Pacho at the back, which means there has to be a reinforcement in the semi-finals. Not only was it Pacho shown a red card, because Luca Hernandez came off the bench, and Pumuzo, he also gets shown a straight red. And again, here, there were a lot of protests from PSG's bench. But having a look at that, what did you immediately think?
First view, I thought maybe just a yellow card. But after seeing that again, I think it's a correct call to say it's an elbow to the face. It's a kick with his left foot. Is he endangering the safety of an opponent? The answer would be yes with that elbow. No intention to play the ball because the ball is on the ground and he's using his elbow. I think a correct call. With the first one also lunging in, excessive force, endangering an opponent. I also agree with the first one.
Yeah, look, not to promote the dark arts, but what gives him away is that look. The mere fact that you look and you throw it, you're gone. And Anthony Taylor's an English referee. He knows these things, right? But in a different case, if you're running, you just happen to sort of just lean into somebody, it's a different case. But once you have a look and you throw something, you're in trouble.
One wonders if there's any sort of lingering residue from the fact that Luca Hernandez is a former Bayern player and now has been shown a red card. Interestingly, the last time that these two sides did meet in the Champions League, it was Ousmane Dembele who was shown a red card. So he came off the bench and perhaps did feel he had something to prove against Bayern, and he was busy. He was busy from the minute he stepped onto the pitch. Again, we asked the question, are you left-footed, are you right-footed? The way he hits this, you immediately said, right-footed.
Yeah, well, when you see the goal in this shot, definitely right-footed. I think the pace that he has is quite incredible, but the mere fact that you can be comfortable on both sides, I mean, that's the level that this requires.
Yeah, I want to quickly ask you, because you mentioned in our build-up that you felt he would be a big impact as far as coming off the bench and scoring. Why did you feel that?
He plays in that false line role. He's not one that stays in the same zone on the field of play. He roams around. He's got the ability to receive in between the lines. He's got the ability to make runs on the shoulder of the last defender. He's got the ability to make that late run into the box as he receives from Hakim in that moment to be able to score the goal. His pace towards the end of games when defenders are tired. His pace at the end of the game when teams are chasing an equalizer leaves a lot of space for him in behind to work with. It leaves a lot of space between the last line and the midfield for him to work into. Hence, I looked at him and thought, if he's coming off the bench, he's going to impact the game and take the level a little bit higher. He gets his goal.
The casual 34th of the season.
Incredible. Wonderful numbers. I think look at all those players, the numbers they've amassed the past season are fully justified by the trophies that they've managed to win. And I just love the theme of this game was that what made it so special was a lot of football matches, especially at the highest level, it takes individual brilliance to sort of get the goal. Whereas this game, it would be individual brilliance in order to create an opportunity to score. You look at Hakeem, how many players he goes past.
Cool.
You look at in the first half, Harry Kane, little touch, -2 players. You create the opportunity. In the first half, the telestrated opportunity. Long ball played into a wide area, outlet ball, but Bakola's touch, inside touch, minus a player. All of a sudden, opportunities are created. That is the special level that we're exposed to today.
That is exactly why I did get the feeling that this is the best game we've seen so far in the knockouts at the FIFA Club World Cup. It wasn't the end of it, that second goal, because at the other end, there was a penalty that had been handed to Bayern Munich, just to add a bit more spice to this entire meal that these two sides were cooking, and it was for a high foot. And it took a while for Anthony Taylor to make the decision, Kumuto. When he did, he seemed assured of himself, pointed to the spot. VAR says, come have a look. What do you make of his reasoning then for overturning the decision?
I was not sure if there was a touch.
Yeah.
I was not sure if there was a touch. I don't know if the touch that I see is before the ball or is the ball into the face and then the foot after. But he comes back and explains that there was no touch on Muller in that moment. And I think he explains it.
After review, Paris, number 25, plays the ball onto the attacker's head. There is no contact between the defender's foot and the attacker. There's no penalty, which will go to the goalkeeper.
Okay, so let's quickly find out then, gentlemen. Was he playing it safe there?
I think he was.
Yeah.
I think he was because, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm generally a defender's side, but now because it's in the box and it's a penalty, we get to see the slow-mo replay and that says, well, there's no touch on their head. But looking at it closely, I don't see the foot touching the ball first and then onto Muller's head. I think Muller's head gets to the ball first and the foot is high and raised and therefore causes an obstruction in the box.
I'm with Bongs on this one because the height at which the ball is at, which part of the body must play the ball is the head. And when the ball is at this height and the foot is playing the ball at that height, look at that height. Which part of the body should be playing the ball at that height? Is the head. And now the foot is going up, and when his foot is going so high, Muller then decides that I'm going to go with the head. But if that foot is not that high, he's putting it on his chest and he's going to put it into goal. So for me, when it's at that height, I'm questioning the refereeing team and just saying, at that height, which part of the body do you use to play the ball? And the part that is allowed is the head. And if the foot is that high, then it must be a foul.
Okay, well, I can confirm that those who enjoy drama here, as far as the studio is concerned, we were hearing them in our ear. They wanted a third red card. That's what they wanted in that particular instance. But it was a decision that was overturned. And in the end, a 2-0 victory for Paris Saint-Germain. As we mentioned, at very first, in 5 meetings against Bayern, it was enough to take them through to the semi-finals at the FIFA Club World Cup. What did the social corner over in Nigeria make of all of it then? Let's quickly find out. Moses.
What an action we just witnessed there. A bit of downers, no doubt, with the situations we saw with Jamal Musiala. But then again, 2 goals, 2 red cards, a major injury. My word. Gentlemen, I have some messages here. This is one from Meg X at Uncle_Meg X says, this game seems to be the final we were all looking forward to. Incidentally, it is a quarterfinal. Imagine. It can't come as big as this one. And here's another thought from Atile Leshego, who says, such a shame. Kind of ruins the game for me, to be honest. You never want to see such happen to any player, yet alone one of such talent and one you are a fan of. I feel your pain, no doubt, and I do hope that it's not as serious as we just seen right there. We're talking with respect to Jamal Musiala. But then again, like I stated, and we have been asking the question, you should come through with your thoughts. Maybe with what you have witnessed right now, are PSG, who are kings of Europe, looking forward to become the king of the world. With this win, emphatically, you must also say, against the Bayern Munich, they are on the right road. Come through. Your thoughts are very necessary, and congratulations to all of us in the studio. We got our predictions correctly. Well, maybe not exactly, but at least we said it was a PSG win, and that is exactly what we witnessed here. All right, a whole lot to look forward to, and I'm sure everybody's excited as regards the next game and what to happen. Would it be an upset? We're not sure yet, but let's try to unpack how things are went on, gentlemen. What are your thoughts with this particular fixture? Are PSG really going to be the king of the world?
Thank you very much, Moses. We'll be definitely touching base with you ahead of the next game. So then,